of Mice and Men have finally released their third full-length album, and with a new clean vocalist and bassist, will it make a huge impact? Let's find out. The album starts off with Public Service Announcement. Now this starts off really strong. It's a heavy track. It just features Austin's vocals, which is actually very strange to see on this album, but I'll talk about that more later. Again, yeah, just Austin screams, really heavy breakdowns from the band, and overall it just gets you really pumped up to start off with this album. Feels Like Forever is next, and this actually sounds like more of a rock and roll sounding type of song. It does feature a good mix of both Aaron and Austin's vocals, so it gives you like a 50-50 of clean and screams. But however, the sound and the instrumental sounds more clean, you know, less breakdown, you know, although there may be some in it. But yeah, I feel like this could probably be played on like radio stations that accept alternative rock. The second track the band actually released to promote this album is called Bones Exposed. Now I will say, I enjoyed this track much more than the first one they released. Again, later I will talk about that. But Bones Exposed was heavy, hit you hard, fast-paced, really awesome guitar work. I really like this a lot. It was filled with breakdowns, Austin's screams sounded very familiar, kind of like The Flood, and I really like the fact that they had a cool, clean chorus, which you do see a lot on this album, but you know, I'm a sucker for a clean chorus, and it worked out really well for this, and there was actually a really cool guitar solo in this song that stuck out near the end of it, and I was like, wow, that's really cool, and yeah, pretty awesome track. Would You Still Be There takes another turn down radio-friendly rock. This song actually features majorly just Aaron Paul's clean vocals. It starts out with it, and throughout the song you'll hear maybe just a bit of Austin in the background with some minor screams. And the instrumentals still keep a bit heavy, you know, with that heavier sounding rock pace and ear-pleasing sound. At track 5 we have Glass Hearts. Now, Glass Hearts sounds very similar to Bones Exposed for me, minus the fact that at probably the first 20 seconds of this song, it comes in this eerie sounding tone that actually continues out through the entire song. If you pay attention, you'll hear it. But it kind of sounds very similar with the instrumentals, and yeah, I don't know, it's very similar in my mind, and you know, it's okay. Halfway through this album, we have Another You. Now, this is actually one of the lighter tracks on the album, featuring more of Aaron Paul's vocals than Austin's. You will hear Austin very minorly throughout the song. He'll come in from time to time, but again, it's maybe around the chorus. The guitars and drums on this song are actually very soft, picking up with some lighter breakdowns around the chorus. Break Free has somewhat of a new metalish sound. It kind of reminds me of something you hear off the Flood reissue, like the 4 bonus tracks, and it got me thinking. I was like, okay, it's a cool track, it's a great mix of metal, you know, the new metal sound, and rock, and it kind of just gets you pumped up, you know, so it's a really fun song. The heavy sound kicks right back in with You Make Me Sick. Now, You Make Me Sick is really awesome because this is one of the heavier tracks on the album, just like Bones Exposed, where it picks up with this cool riffy-like intro on the guitar, and Austin screams are on point, probably some of the best you'll hear on this album, and he has more of his heavier, you know, his screams, and some of the lighter where he's trying to go half clean vocal screams, and it kind of sticks out as one of the cool songs because, you know, it's heavy but not too heavy. I don't know, it's still a really fun song. Identity Disorder does have a pretty slick bass line to come into the song. It's more of a lighter paced song, and again, just like Would You Still Be There, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Aaron Paul seems to have a lot of clean vocals on this album, which I'm not complaining about. He has most of them for the chorus and the verses. There is a part near the end of the song where Austin comes in for one verse where he screams. But yeah, overall, this song is kind of like a few others on the album. You're Not Alone was the first song released by the band to promote this album. Now, I will say, I'm not a huge fan of this song. I think it was fairly weak, especially to release as your debut track to promote this album. I've listened to it maybe 5 or 6 times since hearing the entire album and the song in general, and I don't know, it's fairly weak, you know, it has a weaker sounding lyrics, you know, I know it's trying to state that people aren't alone or whatever, but still, you know, I don't know, I think they could have done a lot better. You know, instrumentals are very quiet, more of a softer metalcore sound, and Aaron has his clean chorus, you know, whatever, Austin has his screams. But yeah, probably one of my least favorites on the album. Closing the album is Space Enough to Grow. Now, before I had even listened to the album in full, I said to myself, I bet that they're going to close the album with a slower song like they did on The Flood. And lo and behold, I was right. Because they close off with this very slow sounding song, just Aaron with the clean vocals. I really like it, actually. I'm a sucker for slower songs. And when I hear this, I was like, alright, you got me. You close off the album pretty solid with this track that'll bring anyone down, you know, from anything heavy and fast-paced to this very slow and very beautiful sounding song. So the album does end on a pretty high note for me. So it's not very often to actually go track for track on every album, but I thought to myself, this album has been about 3 years in the making, with Shaylee going and Aaron coming in to be the clean vocalist and bassist. I just figured I had to talk about every song, and I'm kind of glad I did, because this album was okay for me. I do love Of Mice and Men. As far as metalcore bands go, they were one of the first ones that I really got into, where I listened to their albums on repeat, and I was saying to myself, oh, this is really awesome, because I listened to The Flood, and then I went back and listened to the self-title, and I kept listening to them on repeat. When they brought out the reissue of The Flood, I listened to that, and I was like, this is pretty good, but with Shaylee gone, it was lacking. You know, I know they were going for that new metal sound, heavier, more vicious kind of thing, where they were leading into this new release, and I can see what they're going for on this album. They're trying to eventually move into more of a regular metal rockish type sound. I know a lot of bands are getting tired of metalcore because there are so many bands that keep trying to come in and recycle the same kind of music. And Of Mice and Men did do a pretty good job and made a solid album. I mean, you can listen to this album and say you'll try to hate it, but it will catch on to you with clean choruses, great guitar work. Overall, the instrumentals are solid, and Austin's screams, for the most part, are spot on for the entire album. I think as a rating, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It's not their best release, and that's just coming from me. I know there are going to be hundreds of opinions, maybe there's going to be thousands of opinions on this album, and this is just mine. I think it's okay. I think it could have been better. You know, again, this is what the band wants to do, and that's awesome. I had no problem with anyone in the band. Aaron Pauley came in, did a solid job. I really liked him in Jamie's Elsewhere, and, you know, he's doing a good job in Of Mice and Men. So yeah, 8 out of 10 is what I'm going to give for this album. Alright guys, that about does it. It's my thoughts on Of Mice and Men's new album, Restoring Force. So I want you to let me know what you think about this album down below. I know it's probably one of the most talked about albums now, coming out in January, because it's the start of the year. People have been waiting so long for it. But yeah, I'm going to pick it up, you know, support the band like everything else I bought from them. And yeah, let me know what you want to see next down below. I got a couple more reviews coming out, hopefully within the next little bit of time between this video. So yeah, remember, it's music for today, music for tomorrow, music for life. Peace out.